Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, so welcome along to the Football Insomniac podcast. I'm your host, Colin Watt, and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by a good friend of mine. He is a country music star. He's come all the way through here today to join us. It's Kevin Maguire. Kevin, how are you doing?
Not bad, mate. How you doing? Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I don't know about the term star. We'll need to wait and see about that. But
Upcoming star.
Right, okay. I'll take upcoming star.
So today we're going to be talking through some of our topics, and you can see it along the bottom of the screen here. Our main topic will be, is VAR ruining the beautiful game? We're also going to be talking about some cup upsets. We're going to be mentioning some of the big upsets over the years. We had the FA Cup first round at the weekend, and already there's been some teams knocked out. Since we've got Kevin here, we're going to find out what his dream football dinner party would be, and also we're going to take a look at where football and music is crossed over, and look at some of the songs and some of the albums that's been released by footballers, and we'll get Kevin's take on that. You can tell he's really excited for that topic.
Yes, cool.
But before we begin today, Kevin, it's been a while since we've had you here in the State of Mind studios.
Yeah.
What's on the go at the minute? What have you got coming out?
What have I got coming out? Pretty difficult lockdown period for musicians, as you'll know. Just tried to get as much done as possible. Stuck a wee cover of Enrique Iglesias' Escape, from back in the day. Put that up on Spotify, iTunes, all that sort of stuff on Friday there, just till the new music's ready, the new original music. So it seems to be going pretty well. Apart from that, mate, just doing as much as I possibly can with the restrictions. No gigs.
Yeah, that must be a killer.
It is a killer, mate. Yeah, but literally nothing you can do about it. You just have to make the best of a bad time. But fingers crossed, the vaccine is going to get us back into the football stadiums and back at concerts. So yeah, not gigged since March.
And I think that the last time I got to see one of your gigs was it December last year, coming up for a year now at Broadcast in Glasgow.
I know.
And
Can you believe that?
You've had success with hits like The Night Is Young and Threes. Are we seeing a new album coming out soon? Are you going to be releasing new music?
Do you know what? I've actually had such a productive lockdown period, as bad as it's been not being able to get out and stuff. We've got so many tracks actually ready to go now. Stuff that I think is even better than the stuff that I put out there. Not dissing the stuff that I've put out there, but everything's ready. It's just about the right time and the right people behind it. So fingers crossed, not too long. That's why I put the Enrique cover out, because I don't want to go for such a long period just not putting anything out. But yeah, I'm excited about the new stuff. I'm really excited. So fingers crossed when things open up again, can start getting out.
And I'd say one of the highlights of your career so far. And I'm taking it from my side.
Has been in here.
Well, apart from that, right, spending the time with me, I know what you mean. Having your song played at Celtic Park.
Yeah.
What was that like?
A few times, mate. And do you know what? We won 2-0 on each of the times.
So what we're saying is, if Celtic want to start getting wins, they need to start playing
your
songs.
Do you know what? They were both European nights as well. Can you believe that? We won 2-0 on both the times. No, it was incredible. Weird. It's a weird feeling, like looking about the stadium and not seeing people annoyed at the music that's coming out. Because I just thought that because it's not football music, right? So people wouldn't take to it. But that was cool, really cool. Just sort of experience that not many people will get. So I'm proper grateful to Celtic and the people that managed to make that happen.
I mean, let's hope we'll hear plenty more of your songs as we eventually get back into the stadiums.
I know. Is it really bad that every time I put a song out now I've got one eye on? Would that work at Celtic Park? Would it not? Right, bin it. Nah, I'm kidding on.
We'll hear if the cover of Enrique Iglesias' song will make it there. But welcome.
Escape.
It has been an escape. But welcome everyone to the Insomniac. Thank you very much for joining us on this Wednesday morning. We are going to be speaking about VAR very shortly, because Kevin, that is what has grinded my gears this week.
Yes.
I stole this topic from Family Guy. I don't know if you've seen it. Peter Griffin on the news. What grinds his gears? Well, this grinds my gears.
Yes.
And VAR is slowly ruining football. Mm-hmm. We had two major incidents at the weekend. One with Patrick Bamford for Leeds, where basically his arm was offside.
Shocking, wasn't it?
Terrible.
Shocking. Did you see Lewandowski's goal?
No.
He opened the scoring. Bayern beat Dortmund away.
Yeah, big game of the
Lewandowski
weekend,
opened the scoring 1-0. Celebration. Commentator was like, "Yep, it's onside, so that's great." Blah blah blah. Pulled him back. Like some part of his body was like it was like a minuscule part of his body that was offside. It was shocking. But you're offside, you're onside, aren't you?
I think it's ruining it. And then Jordan Pickford's been he's been lucky with VAR over the last. I know. Tackle on Virgil van Dijk.
Is it luck or is it incompetence though? That's the thing.
Well, that's what we'll discuss. And if you're watching along with us, give us a like, subscribe. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Periscope, and this show is as much for you guys as it is for me and Kevin. So get involved. We've already had some comments coming in. We've got TTV Glasgow FIFA saying VAR is ruining the game, but everyone screams for it once a player is on their team and receives a bad tackle. Now, we discussed this off the air. VAR isn't part of the football life in Scotland, and we've had instances already this season with Jeremy Frimpong and with Alfredo Morelos where they've been caught really high up in the leg, and there's been basically no punishment for it. That's the kind of thing that I think VAR was introduced for. But incidents like at the weekend where we're looking to see if someone's hairline is offside, I think that's part of the thing that's ruining the advantage of having the video assistant referee.
Yeah, I mean, I can guarantee that the both of us were probably screaming for VAR before it was introduced, a couple of years ago. So you have to take that into consideration as well. Before VAR was introduced, you're probably only really moaning about the decisions that your team didn't get, so everyone wanted it. But the offside thing, I think, is a different thing. You're either offside or you're onside. So if it's somebody's hairline, then does that mean you're on? Does that mean you're on? You can't. There's no in between. There's no grey area. You're either offside, or you're onside. So you either keep it or you don't keep it. The Bamford one at the weekend was just astounding, because even watching it before the line comes across the replay line where VAR come in, you're watching the replay of the goal, looking along the line. He's onside. He's onside. So is VAR clear and obvious for the offside onside thing, or do you think it's supposed to be just clear and obvious for every other decision, foul, red cards, penalties? I'm not sure, because looking at that Patrick Bamford one, that was not clear and obvious. In fact, 99% of his body was onside, including the part of his body he scored with his feet. So, but by the letter of the law, his shoulder, was it this part of his body?
I think it was like his upper arm. A part of the body that you're the part of his body that
he would, if he'd scored with that part of his body, it would have been ruled out. So I don't know. I think the handball rule needs to be changed. This whole giving it, if somebody's a yard away and it hits off somebody's part of the body, and I just can't be doing with it. I know that if the ball hits any part of your arm and leads to a goal, the goal is immediately chopped off. I don't agree with that as well. I think it must be, you have to mean it. You have to mean, it must be deliberate.
Yeah, I think that was one of the rules that they looked at last season. Was they changed it from it being just deliberate to basically that's like if it hits your arm at all.
I don't agree with that. I think that's just part of football. Did you see the Man City Liverpool game at the weekend?
Yes.
Was it Joe Gomez that gave a penalty away that De Bruyne missed? There's no way he's meant that. There's no way I don't think that he's meant to handball that.
I think Spurs have been on the wrong side of a couple of those decisions as well, where basically they're defending their body.
Was it Eric Dyer?
So we've got a great point though coming in on social media, and if you are watching along, then drop us a comment and we'll read some of them out on the air, which is exactly what Fraser Ogilvie has done. He's saying VAR is good for the game, but it's been used incorrectly. Look at Germany and Australia. It should be a tool for the ref on the pitch. Now, that was the idea behind the VAR, and VAR stands for Video Assistant Referee. So it's to assist the main referee in his job, in the same way that linesmen are assistant referees and fourth officials step in when the referee's otherwise incapable. It does feel though that the reliance on VAR is as if it's like to overrule the referee. So the video assistant referee steps in to call out where things have went wrong on the park. But as you say, I think there should still be that margin of error, because if we're talking about an arm being offside or a bit of hair or whatever it is,
but then where do you draw that line?
That is
where
the
do you
question.
say, what if it's a bit of hair in somebody's forehead or a bit of hair and up to somebody's nose? So you've got to keep it black and white, or else it's just going to open up even more cans of worms. So
what Fraser's saying here is, if you look at it in Germany and Australia, and we have looked at it in games over there, what seems to happen is the referee makes his decision after watching the footage back.
Yeah.
Now that's where we thought VAR was going to be beneficial, because in live action, referees get one look at it. They see it in real time, and they see it at full speed. When we watch it back in highlights, referees were being criticised over and over and over again, because we've seen it slowed down, 7 different angles looking at it, and you could tell whether the referee was correct or not. Yeah. Now they have that option as well. But I think down south they don't really tend to go and look at the screen before they make the decision. They just take the advice that's given to them from, I think it's at St James's Park in London, where they're all based and they give the feedback from. So they should, are they just using it incorrectly, or is it just a wrong tool?
Do you think the referee should be going and looking at, do you think he should be just getting a note in his ear to say, go and have a look at that?
I would think so.
I think so. And the referee should be able to then make a decision and say, have I missed something that's clear and obvious, or would I have to watch that 10 times to see if there was a slight touch? And I think that should be it. I think the referee should then make that call.
I agree. And if you think on it, if I watched that Bamford thing, 9 times out of 10, probably 99 times out of 100, I wouldn't see the boys offside.
No, not a chance. If you were watching that the days before VAR, and you were watching it on Match of the Day or something like that, and they showed you the replay from that angle, it was not one person would go, he was offside there.
No.
Nobody would.
And here's one I'll throw out. If he was brought down, if he was fouled in the position that he's in, is it a penalty or is it a free kick? Because he's basically on the line of the 18-yard box there. So because his arm's in the box, does that mean it's a penalty?
But then it gets overruled because his arm's offside.
Well, exactly.
So it doesn't matter. Whatever decision gets made, it then gets brought back. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I think when you were asking me about that, I thought a lot about the fact that we don't have it up in the Scottish Football League. I think if we did have it, I think it would be of benefit to, obviously we're Celtic fans, that's no secret. I think it would be benefit maybe to the most fouled teams, or the teams that maybe feel that they're not getting, that they're having the majority of the play in games, that are missing out on penalties and things like that. Like Frimpong, for example, at the weekend, Cole would have been sent off, no question. Probably would have been a couple of penalties over the course that we would have had. I think Dallas, I could have seen Dallas blow his whistle for the Motherwell guy that ran in behind Brown and Ayer in the first half. I could have seen him blow his whistle for a penalty there. If VAR was there, that would get overturned. So I think if we did have it in Scotland, it would benefit maybe Celtic and Rangers more than the other clubs. I think we're more likely to get fouled. But I'm quite happy it's not here.
We've got a great point coming in here from Barca Boy, and he's saying VAR used correctly would be great for Scottish football, might even see a red card or two. That's exactly what you were just saying there.
It would benefit the more fouled teams, the teams that are having more of the ball, that aren't maybe getting justice from the referees.
And Mr. Briggs also comes in with a point. More common sense should be applied by referees when reviewing footage on VAR. It seems like the FA just want the rules to be definitive though. And that's a point you were making as well. It's like he's either specifically onside or specifically offside, and there's no grey area. I think the rule used to be, and someone will correct me if I'm wrong, there had to be a clear advantage to the attacker, and if the linesman wasn't sure, advantage was always played to the attacking team. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's a attacking game. Yeah. So
you can't give an advantage if you know it's offside. You can't go, we'll just give them that advantage if you can clearly see. But another angle to look at VAR is, why do we watch football? We watch football for fun, don't we? We watch it for entertainment, for the excitement. Some people say they like the drama of goals getting chopped off after the team's celebrated and stuff, but unless it's a team you hate, then I think it's taken away so much of that when the ball hits the back of the net. The excitement, the jumping about with the fans, obviously not right now because we can't go. So rules aside, for the enjoyment of the sport, I personally don't feel that it is as enjoyable with VAR. I don't.
Well, I seen a stat on Match of the Day where they're saying 63% of fans would now scrap VAR, which I think is probably the overriding feeling. And you see how where if VAR was used correctly, then league tables would be different. I think Liverpool would be top of the league. There'd be certain teams that have moved up and down positions. So it is still relatively a new thing, VAR. There's still things going wrong with it. There's still things going wrong with goal line decisions as well. We've seen it last season where I think Bournemouth would have stayed up if they'd been given the goal.
Right.
It was 0-0. The ball was carried over the line.
It was about Villa, right?
Yeah, and the goal line technology didn't go off until half time. So it can have a major impact on teams, this technology, and I think it's imperative that we get this right.
Yeah. Was it Bournemouth? Was it Sheffield United? Why do I think it was Sheffield United? Was it Bournemouth? Are you right?
I think it was Bournemouth went down, didn't they?
Yeah. Was it a team that went down?
Yeah, it was a team that went down.
Was it not? It was the very first game back.
Yeah, it was the first game back. 0-0. That was the only incident.
It was the first game back after the lockdown. But yeah, it was so clearly over the line that you could see it just watching it on the telly. But VAR should have stepped in. Why did VAR not step in and say your goal line technology is not working? But hey, we've got all the replays. You know.
Yeah.
Why would you not step? Have they been specifically told not to step in for that? I don't know.
Well, this is a point that's been raised here by the Raga 3, which is saying most of the complaints here about VAR are about people not understanding the rules or disagreeing with not understanding the rules. I wonder then, does the referees fully understand the rules of VAR? Do they know that they've got that time that they can go and take a look at the decision? Or are they got it in the back of their minds that they're self-conscious that football's a fast-paced game? They don't want to spend 5 minutes making a decision like they do in American sports like the NFL, where they spend the time to eventually review decisions, and it slows the game and the pace of the game down. It's such a hard one.
I think we would all be at ease if we knew that every VAR decision was getting everything spot on, right? So it's not, I agree that some people don't understand the rules, but it'd be different if every VAR decision was coming up with the correct decision. But we've seen so many VAR decisions that have not been doing that, as you said at the weekend there with Pickford. Just one example. So I think that's where people would cut it a bit slack if they could hold their hands up and say, look, do you know what, it's not gone for our team today, but that was definitely the right decision. But you're not getting that every week.
No.
You don't know what you're going to get when it goes to VAR. There's some ludicrous decisions that have been made. So I think that's the biggest problem. I think that's where a lot of the problems come from. See if you hold your hands up and say, every decision on that game today was correct. That guy's hair was offside. Yep, okay, fine. No problem at all. But you'll get that decision, and then you'll maybe get a red card, something that should have been a red card that the referees just, let go. So people are coming away feeling aggrieved. And I think that's where it's got to stop. Yeah,
and I mean, there's definitely been decisions in Scotland where if VAR had been involved, you'd have seen different results.
Yeah,
we've seen someone come in here on the comments mention about Julian's goal in the League Cup final where he was offside.
Do you think he was offside?
He was offside. Edwards handball for the goal in the 2-1 game. VAR, and
I've watched that Julian goal a million times, and whoever the Rangers centre back was is literally blocking the view of you just assume that he might be offside.
Well, that's where the VAR would come in, and you would see the lines that are drawn, and we're seeing the same person's coming in saying it's only been brought up after one decision went against Celtic. That's not the case.
No,
this isn't a Celtic programme at all. This is on a State of Minds media. We're looking at football in general.
I think you said 10 minutes ago there's a decision on Morelos getting the guy should have been sent off and he wasn't sent off. So
definitely,
you actually mentioned that first before you mentioned Frimpong.
So this is nothing at all to do with Celtic. No. This is football in general. The Football Insomniac was created because it's topics like this that keep you up at night, that make you think, is it ruining the beautiful game? And since I've had you on the show and I've invited you onto the show, I've been keeping you up all night by asking you about our next topic, which is your dream football dinner party.
Right, okay.
So we've had Paul John Dykes and we've had Ewan Robertson on giving us their dream football party. Kevin Maguire, you are hosting 4 players or managers, dead or alive, in the Maguire household.
Yep.
You've got to cook. That's the rules. You can't order in. You've got to cook.
Fine.
What would you cook? What's your speciality? You were telling me you watched the Bake Off earlier, so this better be good.
I watched the Bake Off, but I've never baked in my life, so not that.
Wouldn't do any of that. I make a good carbonara.
Carbonara?
Yeah, I do. And I make good fajitas as well, I'd like to think. So, yeah, something maybe that. Maybe that. Hope nobody's a vegetarian.
So we ask you every week, and we want you guys that are watching to comment along as well. Who would be your dream football dinner party? The doors went. Guest number 1 is at the door. Kevin, who have you got coming first?
First through the door is my favourite player of all time. Just oozed class. Probably growing up for me, he was the first one that I recognised as the best in the world at the time. Zinedine Zidane.
Oh,
yeah.
We mentioned Zidane last week when we were talking about ridiculous red cards.
Right.
When he had the heads gone moment, literally, in the World Cup final.
Yeah.
Is that something you would speak to him about?
Yeah, of course I would. Yeah, and I was actually going to invite Materazzi as well. Nah, I'm kidding. Opposite side.
For round 2?
Yeah, no, Zidane was just, even watching YouTube clips of him now, he just been past players that they weren't there. For such a big guy, his touch was just unbelievable. He could do absolutely everything, could control a game. Yeah, so Zidane, my all-time favourite player, would have to be there. One thing you didn't mention, what age are you getting these players at? Are you getting them as a player or are you getting them as they are now? Because that's the big decision.
It's your choice.
I would take Zidane as he is now because he's won the Champions League 3 times in a row.
So you're getting coach Zidane over the players Zidane?
You're getting a good chat. You're getting what happened at Real Madrid for him to leave in the first place. You're getting what it's like since he went back. You're getting the Gareth Bale chat. Getting all that. So yeah, I'd take Zidane.
So Zidane is the first person into the Maguire household.
Yeah. Does the order matter? No.
No.
Right, okay.
Well, it might matter to you. It might matter to everyone listening, but to me, it doesn't matter. Who have you got in? Who's number 2 at the door?
Next up is another guy I really admire. Brilliant chat. Somebody that I would love to watch a football game with. Jose Mourinho.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 ex-Real Madrid managers?
2 ex-Real Madrid managers, yeah. Yeah, Jose is I know, obviously we don't like him for what he did to us in 2003, but as a character, as a person, as a football brain, I think he's just levels above the rest. I think he'd be the most fascinating guy on the planet to sit and watch a live football game with and just talk to him about the game, get his analysis as it's happening. And I think he'd have good chat. Seems to be quite funny.
I don't know if you've managed to see it, but there is a documentary out that goes behind the scenes at Tottenham Hotspur from last season.
I've not watched it yet.
Mourinho comes across very, very well.
Right.
There's one particular instant where Danny Rose approaches him saying that he wasn't getting game time and he didn't think he was getting the respect of Mourinho. And to be fair to him, Mourinho, Danny Rose was completely out of order.
Right.
He was abrupt. He was basically disrespecting Mourinho's management. But Mourinho came across very family orientated, very togetherness within the squad. Yeah. And you see that from the minute he takes over as Spurs manager. So a lot of the facade that he puts on, I think, is to the press and to the cameras. You actually see what the real Mourinho's like behind the scenes, and I thought he came across very well in that documentary. Yeah,
I mean, the part of him I don't like is his press conferences after the game or his match interviews, because sometimes he can just rabble on about an absolute pile of nonsense, particularly when he was at Man United, the stuff that he would blame things on. But I think underneath that, I think he comes across as a great guy, good chat, it'd be a good laugh, and I bet he's got some stories to tell you as well. So yeah, I'd pick Mourinho. I think especially what happened to him so young, obviously going from winning the UEFA Cup to then the Champions League, and obviously having success before that in Portugal with different clubs, coming through at Barca with Bobby Robson, to where he is now. So yeah, Jose, guess number 2.
So the chosen one has been chosen by Kevin here. If you're watching us on social media, let us know who you would have as your dream football dinner party. I ask my guests this every week, and I'm really intrigued to see some of the comments coming in. We've got Fraser Ogilvie, who would have Cannavaro, Iniesta and Wenger, and there's still one more room. There's one more space at the table, Fraser, so if you can think of someone else to join that party, let us know. What do you think of that? Who would you...
It's good, you know, Iniesta's another superstar. I was also thinking about the ones that I know speak English well, so I think it might be a bit of a barrier. Iniesta, I know, doesn't speak perfect English, or certainly hasn't done a lot of interviews in English that I've seen. I might be totally wrong. So I took that into consideration as well, because my Spanish isn't very good.
But I know Mourinho and Zidane and the other two that I've picked do speak good English, so there'd be some chats to be had. But yeah, that's a very particular one. That
It's quite a
well thought out one.
Yeah.
I would love to know the reasons for why you would pick them. So
it's quite an intricate
Yeah.
table.
let us know why you picked them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So 2 down, 2 to go.
Yeah.
Who is number 3 through the door?
Number 3 is I would say in the last sort of 20 years, maybe longer than that, is the only sort of world class player we've had at Celtic. And when I say world class, I know guys like Van Dijk have gone on to be world class, but I'm talking about world class when he was at Celtic, could have went and played for any team on the planet, and that's Henrik Larsson.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we've got Mourinho, we've got Henrik Larsson.
A big Barcelona Real Madrid connection with
I was going to say that with Zidane as well. There's a lot of La Liga. Did you watch Revisited de La Liga when you were younger? Is that part
Revista de la Liga?
Yeah, that one.
Guillaume Balaguer, yeah. So Henrik done everything, didn't he? He
Oh,
won everything. So, and as I've said, when I was growing up, he was the sort of first best Celtic player that I remember. And as I've said, probably the only guy that we've had in recent history that was world class when he was at Celtic. Could have walked into any other team in the world. He would have some brilliant stories as well. Seemed like a great guy, very humble, and I think that would get the respect of Mourinho and Zidane at the table as well. I don't think any of it would be a mismatch.
so we're going to wrap up this with another El Clasico? Or
No, we're not.
No.
Do you know, I only thought of this one very recently. The final guest would be a bit of a party guy. I think you need a bit of atmosphere.
So we're bringing entertainment to this party.
Bringing entertainment, but also a world-class footballer who, again, has won absolutely everything. I think he's particularly underrated. He's never really been linked. He's a world-class footballer, won everything, but he's never been one of those guys that's come through and, you know, been in the headlines for wanting away for like an £80 million move, blah, blah, blah. He's only 30 years old, but it seems like he's been playing for 50 years. It's Thomas Müller.
I was going to say, you need to stop teasing us and get that name out. Thomas Müller, fantastic.
Müller, yeah. And if you follow him on social media, you know how much of a laugh he is as well.
I remember when Bayern won. I don't know if I do, but
you need to get him on Instagram.
When he won the Bundesliga, I always remember them going out with the full German sort of outfit
Lederhosen.
The Lederhosen.
Yeah.
With the big steins and stuff like that.
Nah, he's right into that.
He's only 30.
He's only 30, mate.
I feel as if he's been 30 for like the last 5 years.
Maybe 31 by now, but I know when he won the Champions League there a few months ago, he was 30 years old, yeah. Incredibly underrated, won everything. And yeah, I'd have him there. Seems he's a great laugh, and he isn't one of these guys that, you know, he's been world class his whole career, but he's never been the one that was tipped for a move away or, you know, was causing unrest. He seems like a brilliant guy to have in your team. He's such a team player, just floats under the radar, scores big goals in big games, and has the respect of his whole team in the club. So Thomas Müller.
So Thomas Müller wraps up the dinner party at the Maguire household. So we've got Zidane.
Plenty of Champions Leagues in that table, I tell you.
Zidane, Mourinho, Larsson and Müller.
Yeah. Some part of that.
That would be some part of You need to live stream that one. So if you're watching along, give us a comment. Let us know what you think of Kevin's dream football dinner party. Also let us know who you would have at yours. We've got David here commenting saying Iniesta is wheat intolerant, so he might not be able to eat your carbonara, so you maybe need to rethink that one. Well, David, you can let us know about that one. We also spoke about our main topic, which was VAR, and Joe Porter brings up a good point here. It says VAR takes the drama out of the game. Maradona's hand of God would never have been given, which is it's true.
Yeah, it's very true.
Would England have won the World Cup?
No.
See, there's so many. If VAR went back and changed history,
yeah,
I think Sport Relief did a thing on that. If VAR could come in back in the 60s and 70s, what it would change. Scotland would have probably made a Euros or a World Cup by that point.
Would Inter Milan get their penalty in the 1967 World Cup?
Oh, that's a talking point. The Raga 3 has Socrates, Roberto Baggio, Zlatan and Faustino Asparilla. Fantastic. Again, it's quite a
well thought out one.
continental feel, that, isn't it?
And are you getting them As footballers, are you getting them as they are now? Because as footballers, maybe would have had Maradona. But then again, his English wasn't great, was it? So it might have been a bit of a barrier.
I think you'd have to do a wee...
But Maradona was a party guy.
You'd have to do a wee search on him on the way in.
Yeah.
And Kay Mullen is joining us saying Scott Brown, Morelos, Ali McCoist and Lennon.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of questions to be asked at that dinner party.
Yeah.
There'll be some party, I tell you.
So we've got yours and...
Jordan Jones, Kel Edmiston.
Right, that's enough. So we're moving on to our next topic today, which is cup upsets. And we take a look at this because it was the FA Cup first round at the weekend. A lot of controversy whether that should have went ahead with the lockdown in England, and there was some semi-professional teams which weren't allowed to train on the week of the game but could play. So that was a bit of a strange one. But it did throw up some shock results. As we've seen, there was teams that got knocked out that were professional teams knocked out by lower league teams. And I think it adds to the fact that cup football is just a different kettle of fish to league football and domestic football, because it's 90 minutes and absolutely anything can happen.
Yes, that's very true.
So what we're going to do here, and we do it with at least one of our topics each week, is go through some of the cup upsets, and we're going to do it as a sort of top trump style, where I'll explain my reasons for picking mine, you explain yours, and we'll see what one we think is better.
Wow.
Or a bigger shot.
Sounds like you've made a big list, I've not.
So I'm going to start here with one, just to show that we are very balanced here on this show. Clyde 2, Celtic 1, FA Cup third round, Scottish FA Cup third round, Roy Keane's first game at Broadwood, Eddie Malone, and I can't remember who scored the other goal for Clyde.
It was Bryson.
Bryson.
Yeah.
If
I might be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think
someone will let us
it
know.
was Bryson.
That, to me, in my lifetime,
Huge.
being a Celtic fan is probably the biggest shock,
Yeah.
because I'm quite young and don't remember much of the Inverness game.
Yeah. Huge. Huge shock. I remember watching it. Was it Dewey's debut?
I think it was the only game he ever played for Celtic.
Was it not Roy Keane's debut as well?
Roy Keane's debut, yeah. Imagine that, coming up from winning everything under Alex Ferguson to losing
I
to
can still
Clyde.
remember it was on a Sunday, wasn't it? It
Yep.
was on a Sunday. Zarafsky scored for Celtic, didn't he? 2-1.
That's more research than
it
I've
was
done.
just It was just shocking. I think I just remember watching Clyde Stadium. The wind was like howling about. They've only got 3 stands. No, that's an excuse. And they just fancied it, and Celtic didn't. They just absolutely fancied it. Brilliant for Clyde.
And it does
Huge
a lot,
upset.
yeah, it does
Huge
a lot for
upset.
the teams as well.
Yeah.
Kevin Graham's letting us know it was Bryson that got the other Clyde goal. That sends shockwaves through Scottish football when you
Yeah.
see a result like that.
Not just Scottish football.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And to me, I think if you look back at the recent history of the Scottish Cup, that's probably one of the biggest cup upsets that we've had.
I can't think of a bigger one in recent history of the magnitude of that. And I think when you do take it into account that it was Roy Keane, it was live on telly, you know, there's obviously been other upsets, maybe further teams down the divisions have beaten Premier League teams, but the magnitude of that one, I can't think of another one in recent Scottish history this side of the millennium that would beat that. I'm sorry, I don't know how I'm going to match that.
Well,
because we actually spoke about this, and you actually you bumped one of my best ones off it. So,
that is the challenge for you
wins.
now. I've given you
I can't-
Clyde 2, Celtic 1. Give me anything, any cup upset.
I can't beat that, but one of the biggest cup upsets that I think, and the reason I picked this one is because I said we spoke about this before, that there's so many cup upsets that have kind of been one off to get into the next round and stuff, which is great. But getting a trophy at the end of it, Wigan beating Man City in the FA Cup final 2013. Wigan, bottom of the league, relegated, beating Man City, who'd spent hundreds of millions. And to get, were you saying that was Wigan's first trophy?
The first
Major trophy?
I think they'd won maybe lower leagues or stuff, but that was the first major
We
trophy.
Sean Maloney with the cross, right?
Yep, Ben Watson with the header.
Yeah. So
Was Martinez the manager of
Yeah.
Wigan at the time? Yeah.
was it Watson with the header? I
it was-
think it was somebody called McManaman. Maybe he was playing.
Callum McManaman, it wasn't him.
Was
that
it not
scored,
him?
It was Watson with the header.
I
Yeah.
remember I was in the pub. Yeah, I'd pick that. Getting a trophy at the end of it, beating, the mighty Man City. Yeah, and then I'm just thinking about Portsmouth now winning the FA Cup as well.
Portsmouth did win the FA Cup under Harry Redknapp.
Yeah.
You could have saved that one for the next round.
Nah. What was the one that... No, we'll stick to this now.
Stick to that.
Yeah, yeah.
Clyde 2, Celtic 1 versus Wigan 1, Man City 0. Do you know, to be slightly biased, I'll sway towards yours.
Really?
So we don't have to go with
I honestly couldn't pick. Between them.
It's massive.
Yeah, I was just thinking the fact that Wigan got a trophy at the end of it and they were relegated. You know, were Man City champions that year? Was that the Aguero year? No, Aguero was 2012.
Aguero was 2012.
Right.
I don't know if they retained the title in 2013.
Right, okay. I don't think they did. Would that have been Fergie's last year at United? Are we just talking nonsense now? I know it was round about that time,
Yeah,
right?
it's that era. Someone will come in and let us know in the comments.
Was it Mancini that was the manager at City?
Yes.
Right.
So, I mean, but big upset, put it that way. Man City spending hundreds of millions of pounds even back then on their team,
and
as opposed
Wigan.
to Wigan, who had Sean Maloney. No dig at Sean
He
Maloney.
did. You know what? He did fantastic for Wigan.
He did.
He did. So,
And he almost replicated it not long after it when he scored the goal for Scotland against the Republic of Ireland.
yeah, that
From
was
the corner at
that's
Celtic Park.
the Man United game you're talking about when he scored for Wigan. They beat Man United 1-0. Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
So some comments coming in here. Kevin Graham, who is a regular contributor to A Celtic State of Mind, has his own show here on A State of Mind Media. Wrexham beating Arsenal in the FA Cup 91. Mickey Thomas going for Wrexham.
What division were Wrexham in at the time?
I think Wrexham may have been non-league.
Non-league, yeah. Huge.
And Wrexham's an interesting topic actually because
Is it?
they look as if they're about to be taken over by Rob McElhenney and Ryan Gosling.
Saw that. Read about that a few weeks ago. Wow.
Incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
you, as a fan of both the actors, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
Deadpool. You feel as if it's almost like a script for a film that's soon to come out.
I know when the Netflix camera's turning up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you know what? They'll probably get it. Yeah. That is a huge upset in 1991, but
before your time.
I know.
Yeah, just slightly.
But yeah. So who wins that first one then?
I'll give it to Wigan because they won the FA Cup.
Right.
I'll give it to them, and I'll try and erase that Clyde victory from my memory.
Right. Well, you did cheat. You told me that it was domestic only, and then we were sitting in the car. You were hitting me with all these international ones, and I was like,
yeah, I've still got that one written down. There's one here, which I actually just remembered when he mentioned it. Joe Porter, Birmingham beating Arsenal in the FA Cup when Alex McLeish was the manager.
That's the one that I think I was thinking of. Was it not Martins that scored when the Arsenal?
Obafemi Martins, yeah.
When the Arsenal, that's what I was thinking of. When I was thinking of Portsmouth, because I knew they played in blue, but it was Canu that scored for Portsmouth, wasn't it? But it was Martins. It was the League Cup, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was.
It was the League Cup with Alex McLeish. That's what I was thinking of. And the Arsenal goalkeeper, I'm sure, dropped the ball in the last second or something like that.
Yep.
And Martins just slotted it in.
I'm trying to remember who the Arsenal goalkeeper would have been. They had a couple of howlers back then.
Yeah.
Probably some of them.
Jens Lehmann, Almunia, I don't know.
May have been Armenia, yeah.
Yeah, that was a massive upset. McLeish did okay down there.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
So, round two.
I'm out.
I'm going to go with one from down south.
Right.
And I'm going to go with the FA Cup final. I believe it was 1987, 89, one of the two. Liverpool 0. Wimbledon's Crazy Gang 1. I think Wimbledon were a League One side at the time. Liverpool flying high, had won the league, was doing very well in Europe, and the rough house tactics of Wimbledon prevailed. Vinnie Jones, one of the key players in that team, and I think when it comes down to what you just 88 with Wimbledon, it was when you come down to what you just mentioned about Wigan beating City. This, I think, for me, was an even bigger upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just going to agree on that one?
Yeah, yeah, well, a bigger upset, yeah. Maybe the fact that Wigan get a trophy at the end of it, I would maybe say that Wigan were
Wimbledon
better.
did as well. It was the FA Cup final.
Of course.
Come on, Kevin.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. You can beat me in the last round with that one. So I'll need to match that with a trophy, right? Let's go.
On a
I
bigger
think my
scale.
dad says that this is maybe the worst game that he's ever been to. like feeling so dejected after it. I might be wrong, Dad, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Wraith Rovers beating Celtic in the league, was it the Coca-Cola Cup final?
Yes.
At Ibrox.
Was it the final or was it the semi-final?
It was the final, wasn't it?
Was it the final?
Yeah, I'm sure. Someone
will verify that. There's fans watching.
Yeah.
The Coca-Cola Cup. I
was just too young to I'm sure it was like late 90s or something like that. So I was too young. I don't remember like watching it or anything like that, but I'm sure. Somebody backed me up. Was that a final?
We'll see when the comments come in. And speaking of comments,
but if not, it's still a humongous upset.
Definitely.
I'm sure it was a final.
Final in '94.
Well, okay, fine. So yeah, I think that's got to be right up there.
I would say so. And there was one key thing about the finals and the Coca-Cola Cup was when you won the man of the match, normally you're presented with a bottle of champagne. Then
it's not the Pizza Express thing again, is it?
No, they got a bike.
They got a bike?
They got a bike as for being man of the match.
A Coca-Cola bike?
I don't know if it was a Coca-Cola bike necessarily, but it was a bike. That was what they got.
How do you know that?
I do my research, Kevin. I'm prepared for when we come in and do this podcast.
You knew this was coming up today. Right, okay.
So that was what you got, a bike.
You wonder how many players have got the Coca-Cola bike in their house then?
That would be a
Was it when you won? Was it in your man match in the final, or was
man
it
of
any
the match?
Like a mountain bike?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Anybody out there that knows of any former footballers that have got a Coca-Cola bike
you want one now,
sitting in the shed, let us know.
You want one?
Yeah, I do want one. Wow. Right, okay. So it was like this really bad fizzy drink that's full of sugar promoting health and cycling.
Yeah, and it sponsored football, just like
brilliant.
Back in the day when cigarettes sponsored football and everything else.
Yeah.
So some points coming through here on social media. If you are watching us on YouTube, on Facebook or on Twitter via Periscope, then comment, feel free. This show's about you guys as well. We've got Bromsgrove Boy here who's mentioning the 87 Scottish Cup where Rangers lost 1-0 to Hamilton. Adrian Sprott. It was something that Lawrence Connolly brought up when we were watching the game on Sunday, was hopefully to see a replica of that, but 8-0 kind of didn't go that way. Joe Porter letting us know that Wraith Rovers were dynamite back then.
Right, okay.
They had to be to win that. And
I'm still putting that down as an upset.
I would say so.
Yeah.
And Mr. Briggs giving us some fun facts about the 88 FA Cup final with Wimbledon beating Liverpool. John Aldridge missed a penalty for Liverpool, the first time a penalty had been missed in the FA Cup final. That's incredible, actually. It took to 1988 for a penalty to be missed.
That is some stat. How long's the FA Cup? It's funny because the English think that the FA Cup's the longest trophy ever, but it's not. It's a Scottish Cup.
The FA Cup would have been the late 1800s.
Yeah.
So that's incredible.
Am I right in saying that the Scottish Cup is the oldest trophy in football? I'm sure it is. You don't know that.
Someone will let us know. I didn't
Somebody
do that
will
bit
let
of
us know.
research.
I'm sure
no.
it is. The English love to think that it's about the FA Cup, but I'm sure the Scottish Cup is the oldest trophy in football. I might be wrong, but I'm.
You're confident on that one?
What I'm confident is that I've been told that. so.
Joseph Byrne, did Bradford beat Chelsea? I'm sure they beat Bushma-Coupon in 2014. They did 4-2.
Yeah.
Again, someone that was at your dinner party, Jose Mourinho, was in charge, I think.
Right. Yeah, that was a Stamford Bridge one too as well. Yeah.
And Chelsea were flying high at that point, and clearly not. Gerard Brett letting us know it was 1994 with the League Cup final, and it gave rise to the immortal line, "They'll be dancing in the streets of Rafe." Brilliant. Andy Halliday scored for Bradford that day in the 4-2 game.
Right.
Interesting.
Right.
And the Raga saying that it is the oldest trophy, the FA Cup, but it might not be the oldest competition. So maybe
the English FA Cup, the Scottish FA Cup.
Someone will come in and clarify on that one, but I'll go with the FA Cup.
Right, okay.
Joe Porter mentioning that Greece won in the European Cup in 2004.
Yes,
that was unreal.
Yeah. I think that has got to be up there with. Yeah, if you can actually find a bigger upset than that, then give you a lot of money. That's huge. I don't know why we didn't think of that one, because we did our international ones. We've got them. Yeah,
we've got Germany beating Brazil 7-1 on their own patch.
Yeah.
So
Senegal opened up the World Cup against the World Cup champions France in 2002 and beating them 1-0.
Yep.
Crazy.
South Africa won in the first game in the 2010.
Was it not one each?
Did they not win? I don't know.
Someone will
correct me.
I thought it was one each. I remember the goal, left foot, the guy.
Shabalala. That was his name.
I don't know, but I thought that game was one each, but I might be wrong.
Mr. Briggs confirming the FA Cup is the oldest tournament. It started in 1872, but the Scottish Cup is the oldest trophy. The English have had a different version of their trophy throughout the years.
So I was right. It's the oldest trophy in football.
There you go. You're spot on. And something else that
It's
you know...
a good fact. It's a good thing, you know, I tell you.
And something else that you know a lot about is music, being a musician yourself.
You know, speak for yourself.
And there's always been a connection, I think, between football and music. Certainly throughout the years, you hear the songs on the terraces. Some of the songs and the chants that I came up with are fantastic, and they always seem to come from hit songs from either that decade or previously. When you think of the Scott Sinclair song, it's a scooter song.
Brilliant song, mate. One of the best chants in modern day history.
You'll Never Walk Alone, straight out of the musical Carousel. So there's always been that sort of connection between football and music.
Yeah.
But the thing I want to take a look at here is the connection between footballers and music.
Right, okay.
So what we're looking at here is where footballers have released singles or been part of singles, released albums, and I'm going to get your opinion on some of them because I've sent you them before this to have a listen to. And anyone who is watching us now, you can take a look at some of these songs on YouTube. They're all available. But after this podcast, stay along and listen to the end of this and hear Kevin's opinion before you make your own. So there's been some success stories, definitely in Scottish football at least, with James Allen, the lead singer of Glass Vegas.
Brilliant.
A lower league footballer, fantastic band, great albums, and they've got a new album coming out soon. In Sweden, there was a player, Aaron Ekberg, who is better known within the dance market as Aaron Chupa, with his song I'm an Albatross, which was a massive hit.
Now that you're saying this, I should have thought of this. Sorry to interrupt you. When I was young, there was a DVD I bought called Own Goals and Gaffs, right? It was fantastic. If you ever seen it, it's worth getting. And there was this Swedish footballer that played for Leeds United. He was kind of chubby. And he had a song out. Can anybody help me with this? I can't remember the guy's name, but it was such a big laugh. On you go, continue what you're saying. But please, if somebody's out there, what was the name of this guy again? Swedish footballer, kind of overweight, played with Leeds United. I know that at some point and had a song out.
Was it a hit?
No, it wasn't a hit, but it was well known at the time. Maybe in Europe. But anyway,
the name that's coming through is Thomas Brolin.
Thomas Brolin. That's it. That's Thomas Brolin. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't think of that. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to show you after this.
So, on your professional opinion, Thomas Brolin on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, 1.
1?
1, yeah.
Dreadful?
Oh, shocking, mate.
So
shocking. But he wasn't a good footballer either. Well, according to this DVD I bought, if anyone's seen Own Goals and Gaffs, it's a fantastic laugh. You should watch it.
So we've established the lower end of the scale. We've got Thomas Brolin.
Right.
I'm going to throw it out to the higher end of the scale, perhaps. Kevin Keegan, head over heels.
It's not bad. I was saying to you when I was watching it on YouTube, the first thing that you notice in the description, well, the one that I was watching was the 2 songwriters are listed, so it must have just been a time for them to fill their boots. The money that they must have made off of that. Do you know what? Kevin Keegan's not got a great voice, but all I can think of when I watch it is just what Fergie must have been thinking when he was winding him up. You know, in the night, like just way after that, he must have just had that vision of Kevin Keegan on the stage with a microphone singing that song, thinking, I'm going to have this guy.
He was on Top of the Pops.
Yeah, he was on Top of the Pops, didn't it? Yeah.
I think it was a big hit, not only in the UK, but also in Germany.
Yeah.
It made it towards, I think it was like the top 10 in Germany or something like that. He done really well. But then again, the German music scene has also seen David Hasselhoff with numerous number ones. So
aye, all Fergie would have had to have done. See, when all that was going on when Man United were racing Newcastle for the league in the 90s, can't remember what year it was, but all Fergie would have had to have done was put that Top of the Pops performance up in his changing room, saying, guys, look at this. And obviously they won it.
So on the scale of Brolin to 10.
Are we talking about on the scale of music, or are we talking about on the scale of footballers and music?
Music. Let's go with music. So Brolin's the number 1. He's at the lower end of the scale. Where does Kevin Keegan fit in?
In music?
Yeah.
In music, maybe just a few above that. But in terms of football and music, maybe... Oh, it's too difficult, mate. Honestly. Maybe footballers doing music, maybe up at like a 7.
7.
For
we'll
footballers,
go with that.
Footballers doing it.
We'll go with that. Kevin Keegan's a 7. I'm going to class James Allen as a 10.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we fit Kevin Keegan in at 7.
Right.
Joseph Byrne commenting here saying
Wait,
Kevin
if James
Keegan.
Allen's a 10, Kevin Keegan's nowhere near a 7.
So what's Kevin Keegan then?
So we have to do it as if they're footballers at the time, right? The time
Yeah.
of the release. So then Kevin Keegan's down at like a 4 or a 5.
4.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with 4.
Right.
Joseph Byrne commenting saying Kevin Keegan didn't need a good voice. His entertainment came from his hair. The afros back in the day, incredible. And another one that's coming up here from Helen McCallum. Diamond Lights, Glenn Hoddle and Chris Waddle.
Yep.
That's again 2 massive names
I
back
watched
in the
that
day.
last night. 2 massive names that rhyme as well. Hoddle and Waddle. Yeah, an absolute nightmare.
One I'm going to throw in,
Right.
someone that's been on A Celtic State of Mind before.
Am I going to know this? Or are you
Yeah.
going to embarrass me
No,
by
you're going to
by
know this
not
one.
knowing it? Are you sure I'm going to
Yeah,
know this?
yeah.
Because I hate when you ask me stuff and I have to pretend that I know about it.
John Barnes and the
okay.
Anfield Rap.
Okay. Yeah. Seen it a million times. It's difficult to comment on whether it was good or bad because we don't know what the industry was like at the time. So when that came out, people might have thought, "Oh, do you know what? This is so cool." So I don't feel comfortable making those decisions. Now when you listen to it, it's rotten, right? But I would rather somebody see if anyone's watching that was around at the time of that and new music. You tell us. You let them make the decision on whether what numbers it's going to rank on a scale of 1 to 10 because it might have been really cool at the time.
Well,
I'm not saying it was, but
Yeah.
it might have been.
Well, John Barnes is synonymous with rap.
Yeah.
If anyone's seen him on A League of Their Own
yeah.
on Sky One,
Yeah.
him and Jamie Redknapp,
Yeah.
very, very often on
Yeah.
there rapping away. And obviously he was involved in the World in Motion. You got to hold it in, do it at
Yeah.
the right time.
Yeah.
Became brilliant on Gavin and Stacey when they replicated
I've
that.
not seen Gavin and Stacey.
You've not
mate.
seen Gavin and Stacey?
No.
Highly recommended. Kevin Graham's letting us know he was there. He's shown his age. It was rotten at the time.
Right, there you go. So Kevin, where are you putting him then? 1 to 10. We'll let Kevin make the decision.
Joseph
Make it
Byrne
back.
letting us know that Barnes is a better singer than a manager. Interesting.
Well, probably.
Joe Porter coming in. JJ Okocha also released an album. What a footballer JJ Okocha was.
Fantastic, eh?
Wonder how he'd have been as a singer.
Do you not think you don't really get as many of those types of footballers nowadays? Just the absolute showman. You know, Neymar's kind of doing it. You can go to him for tricks, but I remember watching Okocha, like Ronaldinho. Obviously, those two aren't really in the same bracket, but it's just a joy to watch. JJ Okocha could do everything.
It's interesting you mentioned Neymar because he's actually released a single as well.
Has
There's
he?
so many current
I'm not
footballers
surprised.
that are out there that have actually released music that
Carlos
we
Tevez.
haven't seen. Carlos Tevez. I'm trying to think. Kylian Mbappe, Thiago Silva. There's players out there, and you don't hear of them. But one that I think might take Brolin off the bottom of the chart is Andy Cole, father of Devante Cole that we spoke about earlier. And
Is that his dad?
That is his dad. Yeah,
Wow.
learn
Didn't know
something new every day.
that. You do?
With the song Obviously. Now I sent you that last night. It's a sort of 90s garage dance track. It's dreadful. It's absolutely
right,
dreadful.
I think I made a note in this one.
If it's any more than just the word
Do I hear
pitch.
what I've written?
Right, go on.
Andy Cole's outstanding. That's the one you're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Has its good bits, but zero are when he's making noise. The beat was on point for its time. That's true, right? See, if you just isolated the beat, you think that probably would have been maybe a wee bit popular at the time, but the rest of it, no.
So when Andy actually gets on the mic,
Yeah.
so the good bits is the music and the
But
bad bit is when
I'm
Andy's
trying to
on the
analyse
mic.
the production and stuff as well. I'm trying to analyse everything that I can hear.
So are we putting him on the bottom of the Brolin scale?
Well, I don't want to slag off the producer. No, he's not the Bowen scale, no. That was an embarrassment. When did Andy Cole release that?
1999.
Right, so the year that he won the Champions League.
Yeah.
Right, so there's no excuses.
No.
He probably thought he was untouchable. Okay, well, maybe put him at a 2.
2.
Yeah.
So we're coming up now just short of an hour we've been on here.
No
Kevin. Doesn't
way.
feel like
no
it, does
way.
it?
No, it doesn't.
So we're going to finish up with some songs that footballers have featured on that might not necessarily have charted. I'm thinking Jimmy Johnston with Dirty Old Town, with
Brilliant.
Simple Minds.
Jim Kelly, yeah. Brilliant.
We had the FA Cup final songs where teams would get to the final and release a track. Chelsea done it quite a few times. I think Spurs might have done it with Chaz and Dave and things like that. So got them on Top of the Pops. Granite Scotland actually bringing up something which I've mentioned before and not a lot of people believe this is true. Dion Dublin invented his own percussion instrument called the dube. It's like a drum. I don't know how to explain it, but it is his own instrument. He's invented it himself.
Wow.
The dube, D-U-B-E.
Wow.
Worth looking up.
Definitely. Was this a recent thing or was it?
I think it was maybe in the last 5-10 years. Yeah.
So retired.
Yeah, he's now host of Homes Under the Hammer, so other things he can do in his time as well. Like
invent percussion instruments.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
One of the things I remember about football and football songs is when teams were going to World Cups.
Yeah.
And you had We're on the March with Ali's Army, you've got Three Lions.
Remember that We're on the Ball?
Ant and Dec.
Aye.
Yeah. So there's lots like that.
Okay.
And I think the apt way to finish today on this topic, Kevin, is to mention that we have a dream, the Scotland anthem. Big game coming up on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Can Scotland dream? Can they achieve? Can they make the finals for the first time since 1998? What do you think? What's your prediction for Thursday night?
I feel this is a bit that people are going to like steal the clip of and play it when we get beat. But yeah, of course they can. Of course it's a one-off game. There's no doubt that we have ability in that squad. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Honestly, it could go either way. We could go there. We could be 2-0 down in the first 15 minutes, or we could go there and play our strengths. I've got no doubt that Scotland have got the ability in that football team to go and get a result in Serbia, but you just don't know how. You don't know how we're going to turn up, so you don't. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but of course we can do it. Of course we can.
And hopefully we will be coming to Euro 2021. I think Scotland can do it as well.
I've heard it before.
Yeah,
I've heard it before. Is this the most important game, do you think? This is the most important game.
Probably since the Italy game.
Yeah. But we've been closer. Remember we played the Holland?
Netherlands, yeah.
Yeah, and we were 1-0 up from the first leg. So
James
I guess that
McFadden
second
scored.
leg, I was at that game. So I guess the second leg was maybe just as important as this is now, but we've got a realistic chance.
Yeah.
Of being able to nick something tomorrow night to I don't know, to get a one each and hold out for penalties, or even to go and win. I think if we've got players on form. Bit gutted that Ryan Fraser's injured, but yeah, I believe we can do it.
I'm now fully behind it. There was a video released by Clyde One, which basically showed you some of the great moments of Scotland over the years to the music of the Purple Heather, and I'm not normally a big Scotland fan, but on tomorrow night, I'll be sitting there, but much like the rest of the country, with a full belief that we can do it, and I hope that we do. So to the boys, if any of you are watching this, all the best for tomorrow night. Bring it home for the Euros, and let's hopefully get a game at Hampden. It'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, be amazing. We've got the ability to do it tomorrow night, so the squad's good enough to go and get a result. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Everything crossed, definitely.
Yeah.
Kevin, thank you very much for joining me
Thanks
here
for having
on
me,
the Football
Been a
Insomniac.
pleasure.
Thanks to everyone who's been watching along. If you are watching along, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. We're live every Wednesday with the Football Insomniac. Kevin, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here
Thanks
today.
for having me, mate. It's been
And
good.
all I can say is thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.